Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a paralegal turned stay-at-home mom who loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild topics, may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get started on today's case. The beautiful, black, talented, smart, close-knit Wilson sisters were ambushed and assaulted by a 27-year-old Caucasian man who had a history of being a real-life cucuy named John Lee Cowell. On Sunday, July 22nd, 2018, 18-year-old Nia, 26-year-old Latifah, and 20-year-old Tashia Wilson exited the MacArthur BART station and were met with this monster who had gotten on the Concord train back to Oakland on the same train as them. Nia Wilson was the baby of the family. She was the daughter of Ansar El Muhammad and Alicia Grayson. Nia was pronounced dead at the scene, and Latifah was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Thankfully, she survived her wounds. Latifah, however, will never recover from seeing her sister die at the hands of a real-life cucuy. How anyone can say that this brutal murder was not racially motivated is beyond me. While I do think mental illness is a factor in this case, it's the way he followed them from where they were coming from that makes my skin crawl. The probation department had reason to believe John Lee Cowell was a member of a white supremacy gang called Peckerwood. I can say that the more I research Bay Area cases, I am more in awe of the amazing work that the authorities do here. BART police immediately identified the suspect and he was arrested and captured the very next day. The very next day after the attacks at 5:47 p.m., BART police got a call from a BART passenger saying that they may have witnessed John on a Richmond-bound train heading to the Coliseum. That didn't end up being him, but 10 minutes after that first tip, police got another call and they intercepted the Antioch-bound train at the Pleasant Hill station, and there he was. He was arrested at 6:27 p.m. The difference in how nice and calmly John Cowell was apprehended versus how Oscar Grant was killed speaks volumes. In the same news report that mentioned how Nia's sisters were feeling guilty for not being able to protect their baby sister from this maniac, BART Police Chief Carlos Rojas says that the murderer was truthful and polite when officers closed in on him. In his defense, he does say that it's probably the most vicious attacks he's ever seen. What I also do not understand is the BART Police Chief Rojas also saying that BART homicides are rare and having multiple in a span of a week is an anomaly. John was a Concord hobo with a long rap sheet, a career criminal. Knowing what to do in such situations, he changed his clothes after running out of the North Oakland station. As soon as John turned 18, he started wildin'. Though most of his crimes happened during the year of 2016, and his allegations included burglary, shooting into homes, felony assaults, brandishing weapons like knives. He had done 2 years in prison for his 2016 conviction of second-degree robbery. In 2015, while high on some serious shit, he tried to get into a family's home in Concord. In 2016, the Kaiser in Richmond had to file a restraining order against him after he threatened to kill an employee. He lived at his aunt's house in Concord, and authorities were able to find the knife and the clothes that he had chucked at different locations. John was arrested on first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon on charges and booked into the Santa Rita County Jail in Dublin, California on Monday, July 23, 2018 at 11:40 p.m. He was arraigned on July 25, 2018 in Oakland, where everyone was able to see his North Concord tattoo written on his chest. The Wilson sisters were coming from a family gathering in Concord. To get home, they had to transfer at the MacArthur station to catch the Warm Springs train at 9:30 p.m. As I previously mentioned, John was on that Concord train with them, and when he saw them get off, he followed them. The sisters were blindsided by the knife this real-life monster was holding. Latifah was stabbed in the neck. Nia died on the platform after he slashed her throat. Tashia was not physically hurt, but the emotional wounds of that night will follow her entire lifetime and the next. The trauma experience that this happened left wounds to all those affected, especially the Wilson family and their future families generation to come. The Wilson sisters did not know this maniac, nor did they ever exchange words with him. Nia did not like Bart. In fact, she was scared of it. Although I took Bart on a daily basis for over 10 years for school and work, I am scared of it too. It's almost as if Bart is the craziest place, most favorite place to play. This maniac had the complete audacity to get back onto Bart on at least 2 confirmed busy evenings for the rush hour commute home through the East Bay trains before he was caught for killing Nia. The attack was caught on surveillance footage. Although he was a diagnosed schizophrenic, prosecutor Butch Ford argued with very good reason that the attack was goal-oriented. He followed the sisters, he ran from the scene, he dumped his clothes, and he dumped the knife at a different location. At trial, John performed a soliloquy about how he thought the Wilson sisters were aliens and a part of a gang that killed his grandma. John pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. The jury did not buy this cowardness and took 4 hours on March 10, 2020 in return and returned a deliberation of a guilty verdict, and that John knew what he was doing on the day he killed Nia and tried to kill Latifah. On July of 2020, Judge Alan Heimer sentenced John Lee Cowell to prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Nia Wilson. On January of 2023, John's appeal for his sentence was thankfully denied. John Lee Cowell is serving his life sentence at the Sacramento State Prison, where he belongs. We've reached the end of today's episode of Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. Stay tuned for the next episode. Make sure to follow me on all socials by the same handle. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and of course TikTok. If you like my content, do me a solid and rate my show. As always, I accept and respect your opinions. I welcome all questions, comments, case suggestions, etc. Hit me up at yareahousewife@gmail.com. I'll see you chismosas y chismosos in the next. Adios.